Let's talk about Apollo. After playing a lot of matches, I noticed players consistently complaining about his abilities and his ultimate, and while he can be an annoying femboy twink, I really think that this character is in a good spot balance-wise. I feel like most of the player base really doesn't know how to deal with him and how easy he is to deal with. I don't want to say get good, but essentially that's what the problem is. Now, to explain myself, I'm going to be looking at his abilities, some of the items that go with him, as well as his hard counters. I'm trying to put out videos like this weekly, so if you enjoy the video, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. It really means a lot. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Let's start by taking a look at his kit. His 1 draws a sphere in front of him and deals damage in the area. It then launches Apollo backwards. Apollo can then carry this momentum to get away from his opponent. His 2 starts an animation, and if he is attacked during this animation, he will become invulnerable for a short amount of time. He will then dash forward in the direction that he's looking, and if he hits an enemy, he will stun them. Keep in mind that this deflects any attack, including melee damage, abilities, weapon damage, and ultimates. His 3 allows him to perform a series of lunges in any direction. These lunges deal spirit damage, and if Apollo releases within the perfect window, he'll deal extra spirit damage. Apollo can be slippery with this by using it in midair or using it to dodge to the side. His ultimate allows him to dash forward, and it strikes any enemies along the path. Enemies caught in this strike will take damage after a short amount of time. They also cannot use their abilities or any healing items. In addition to all of this, if the ultimate hits somebody that is low, they will take additional spirit damage. All of these abilities outside of his parry have the potential to do massive damage. And when combined with Spirit Lifesteal, the amount of sustain that you can have is insane. So most Apollo builds look something like this, where they're trying to build up their sustain, their spirit damage, as well as their Spirit Lifesteal. At first glance, many people think the counter to this would just be grabbing Spirit Res, which in many cases that is a good buy, but there are even better items out there to counter Apollo. Most people complain about the pure amount of damage that Apollo does, as well as the sustain that he has. And while yes, both of these are true, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's overpowered. His 2 abilities, 1 and 3, that do all of the spirit damage can easily be countered with 1 buy. The item I'm talking about is of course Slowing Hex. And no, I'm not talking about a killer perk from Dead by Daylight. I'm talking about the item that slows enemy targets and silences all of their movement-based abilities. This item single-handedly counters his 1, 3, and ultimate. And while this may only counter his abilities for 3.5 seconds, that is a major counter. That is 3.5 seconds where he will not have lifesteal. And given Apollo's squishy health pool, that is not good for him. If that's not enough time for you or your team to capitalize on punishing him, you can always upgrade to Cursed Relic, which essentially does the same thing. However, this is kind of ignoring the fact that a fed Apollo can do significant amounts of damage. Not to mention that his ultimate can demolish teams. But with the new characters being pretty strong, there's one item in the game that you almost consistently need every match, and it counters Apollo brilliantly. This item is of course Counterspell. Counterspell allows you to use your parry not only to parry melees, but to parry abilities. And instead of taking damage from their ability, you'll actually heal. And when using this against Apollo, the timing is actually very generous. You just have to parry a little bit after the ultimate hits you. This is because Apollo's ultimate does damage after the initial strike. And while you may be frustrated with having to spend money to counter another character's kit, because this takes money away from your own build, it only costs around 1600 or 3200 to counter Apollo entirely. To any high-ranked player, this is a great deal. So if you aren't already using these items against Apollo, you should start doing it immediately. The only ability that is impossible to deal with is his 2. I don't have a problem with the stun or the movement, but I do have a problem with being able to counter ultimates without having to buy any item, not to mention being able to avoid huge amounts of burst damage. Apollo really is an OP. He's strong for sure, but he is an OP. I think as the game goes on, more and more players will learn how to counter these characters, and they'll become easy to deal with. It's just, for most players when they're learning the game, it can be overwhelming, so they don't know what items to buy to counter the characters that they're going against. And that's fine and how it should be. Apollo at the moment actually requires a lot of game knowledge, mostly revolving around his parry, but being able to do so requires knowledge of the rest of the roster. So his 2 is very strong, and they'll have to balance the character around that, but other than that, he's fine. I'm just making this video to help more Deadlock players counter him, as he's kind of dominating some lobbies when he shouldn't be able to. If you stayed until the end, thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be making analysis videos like this every week, so make sure you're subscribed, and let me know who you want me to break down next in the comments.
Itani Losan